See, he's digging for the jalapeno. He doesn't even eat them. He just loves picking the ripe stuff from the garden.
We're doing a series of vlogs looking at where we're at and where we're going after 3 years of off-grid permaculture homesteading. Okay, gardening. Gardening is such a huge topic, and we couldn't possibly cover the whole topic here on this short vlog. So I think what I'm going to do is, just for those who haven't been following in our vlog, I'll give a quick just overview of where we're at right now with gardening. And then I'd like to share a little story with you that will hopefully sum up the highlights of just what we've learned kind of in the last 3 years here in Missouri. And then we'll finish out the vlog with a few goals that we have for gardening here at Thousands of Roots in the years to come. We currently have 4 raised garden beds because that's all the time that we had this year. We transitioned from kind of a back to Eden style our first year here to just kind of raised mounds to raised beds. Be sure to check out the description below. I'm going to leave links to some of our favorite books and resources for gardening. So far this season from this bed we've harvested about 12 onions, multiple servings for a family of 8 of chard and kale. We already dug up our beets. There are probably about a dozen beets. We've gotten a few strawberries, random strawberries. And right now we've got a few little radishes coming up. I've never planted radishes, so we'll see how those go. And we are still enjoying the kale and the chard, though it is getting a little bit bug-eaten now. And from this garden bed over here, we've harvested about 3 large salad bowls of lettuce for our family. The lettuce, it's just really hot, so it hasn't done incredibly well. It's still hanging on there a little bit. Got a few little bits of lettuce, but it's pretty much done for the season. And this bed mostly has tomatoes, so we're looking forward to getting some tomatoes here. We've only harvested 1 so far, but there's some starting to get ripe. Oh, we've harvested some herbs from this bed. We've got parsley and lots of African blue basil that we've been harvesting from this bed as well. Over here in this bed, we planted green beans late, so we're looking forward to those, but they're not ready yet. Got some tomatoes coming on, and mostly though lemon squash, which we love. It's a fun little summer squash that's super sweet and tasty. And then also in this bed will be sweet potatoes. If you can see this, the sweet potatoes have totally overrun the walkway. They're just going crazy, so we're going to enjoy digging up those in the future. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to mention we've also harvested quite a few yellow peppers. These yellow wax peppers from this bed. Oh, there's another tomato starting to turn. There's some more lemon squash. We've also harvested quite a bit of the jalapeno peppers here in this final bed, and there's some tomatoes, a few little cherry tomatoes that just volunteered coming up as well in this bed. We also harvested garlic out of this bed a while back, and we still have plenty of that we've been using. So, are you ready for a story? A little bit? I think we're ready to tell a story, the tale of 2 squash. Alright, so we have a story to tell today that's going to share just some of the highlights of what we've learned in gardening, but in story form. I want you guys to listen really carefully, because when the story is done, I have something fun for you to do. Okay? You have to listen super carefully. You ready? Okay. Once upon a time, not too long ago, in a land not very far away, there were 2 squash plants. Their names were Sonny and William. Sonny and William grew up in the same little neighborhood. They both lived in the same houses, newly constructed raised garden beds. They love their little houses. And their houses have been prepared for them perfectly. There was cardboard and paper put down so that would smother the weeds. They both had the same fresh compost layer put down. They both came from really high quality organic heirloom seed. And they were both planted pretty much the same time. They were given the same amount of water. They were given the same yummy, tasty worm juice once a week. And they loved their little home. They grew up together. They became strong little plants. Pretty soon they weren't baby plants anymore. They became adult plants. And they sent off their branches, and guess what? Little yellow flowers, then big yellow flowers sometimes began to grow, and fruit started to develop on their branches. You would imagine they probably were both really healthy plants, right? They had the same life. Well, there were a couple little differences. And although they both enjoyed life for a time, one began to grow weak. The difference with Sunny was that Sunny had a trellis, half-panel trellis that he could grow up and reach for the sky if he wanted to. But the big thing with Sunny is that guess who lived in his house before he did? Green beans. The green beans lived there the year before him. But for William, guess who lived in his house the year before? Squash. You're right. A relative. The Tennessee sweet potato squash lived there the year before him. So unfortunately, little William became the victim of the squash borer vine moth larva. Yikes.
Did the Tennessee sweet potato get invaded by a bad guy last year?
It did. These little larvae came out and began to eat away at the heart of William's main vine, all the way up. Not just one, but many of these little larvae began to eat away at his stem, his vine. So he began to wither and wilt. He became also the victim of a lot of squash bugs, because squash bugs, they don't tend to go to the nice, beautiful green sunny-like plants. They go to the plants that are more like William, that are just barely hanging in there and not making it so good. Pretty sad story, you think, right? But there's a good part of this story too. You know what William was? He was a lesson to his caretakers for what to do differently so that in generations to come, his caretakers could have healthy, wonderful squash. He sacrificed his life so that future generations of squash in his little garden plot could grow healthy and strong to maturity. So would you guys like to try and go out to our garden and see if you can find Sunny, because Sunny's in our garden, and see if you can find William? You guys think you can do that? One more thing though before you go. This will help you identify William, because William is not the only one who fell victim. His brothers and sisters didn't make it either. So William was the one that had the biggest fruit growing on his vine. You guys ready to go find him? Let's go find him.
I'm gonna capture this on video. See, this chicken thinks she found the Garden of Eden. I think Joshy's on the hot trail.
Right here, this one's William.
Joshy already found William.
Alright, we found some of the little grubs here. I don't know if you can see it wiggling there, but I'm just going to try and cut this open and get that guy out. I think this vine is full of them, and it might be too late to save. But there he is. You see that little guy? Got him. Look at that. That's a treat for the chickens. Alright, I had to keel all the way up the vine here. There's another big one up here. Look at that. Come here, you. There it is.
Look, there's one right there, Nene. It's
Yep. They're all throughout this poor vine. If you catch them early enough and get them out, you can cover back over the vines. After you pull them out, you cover the vines, mound them up with dirt, and then they may reroot and the plant may survive. But I think this one's a goner. I think they're all throughout the whole vine. Okay, unfortunately, we found one all the way down going into the fruit here, into the spaghetti squash. There may be others already in there, so this is gonna have to go to the chickens. We're not gonna be able to save it. There it is. Squash borer moth and the larva. This is our natural pest and disease control guide. I go to this all the time. It's a great resource, so look for the link below.
And there's Sunny.
Sunny's lemon squash.
No, Sunny's a lemon squash. Look at that.
How nice Sunny is.
Going up the trellis that we put on here. Is there one of these lemon squash we can show? Oh, look at that lemon squash right there. A nice lemon squash right there. And why did we call him William? William like William who?
William Wallace, is that who?
William Wallace.
Yes.
He died for freedom for Scotland.
Right, so freedom for the squash plants. So this has taught us that we are not going to plant squash plants where we planted squash plants previous years. We're going to definitely rotate that crop.
Now we had our doubts about rotational gardening, didn't we?
Yeah, we were hoping that we could just companion plant and do a lot of variety in each bed. Some heavy feeder plants with some low feed, or plants that would give back to the soil, and lots of diversity, lots of insectary plants and things like that.
But not with the gourd family.
Not with the gourd family. The gourd family definitely needs to move to new areas. And then also we're going to try in the spring to see if we can dig up the larva and get some of the larva out of the soil.
So we'll disturb the soil, like with a pitchfork or a broad fork or something.
Okay.
So does this end our story about the 2 squash plants?
I think so. I guess kind of the easiest way to sum up our lessons learned and that relates to that story is that you kind of have to treat each plant as a character almost in a story, and put yourself in that plant's shoes, and from the very start to the finish, imagine what that plant needs. So what kind of soil preparation needs to be done, what do you do to smother the weeds, what nutrients does it need, what other plants are going to help support it. There's just so many different variables. It's like a huge puzzle, and just keep putting those puzzle pieces together, keep records, keep learning from year to year, and little by little the puzzle comes together and you've got this beautiful story, and hopefully you can use your Williams to make more Sunnies in your garden.
So be the plant.
Be the plant.
Be the plant.
Yeah.
Boy, that sounds weird. So where we're going is that our estimate is what we need is about 3,500 pounds of fruits and
Roots and vegetables.
Roots and veggies. So 3,500 pounds of root crops and vegetables. That's a lot. So obviously we're nowhere near that, but we're going to take it one step at a time.
One bed at a time.
And one bed at a time. So that's our goal for the near future, is to just add raised beds as we can.
Right now we have 75 square feet thereabouts, and we would like to have closer to 1,000 square feet of bed space. Another goal is that we are going to try and focus on the vegetables that are more expensive and harder to store, so that we're not having to go to the store as much, and yeah, just focus a lot on the greens. They're hard to store, and plants that are more expensive in the store. We still will do like potatoes and things like that, but just on a small scale, just so we learn how to grow them, but focus on the things that are more expensive.
So wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for joining us with story time.
Yeah, thanks for joining story time. Please remember to like, share, subscribe. Honestly, most important thing is to share. As I say every time, I guess. Sorry if that's being said over and over and over again, if that's annoying you. But we really do want to grow our channel and reach as many people as we can with hopefully a message of hope. And people can learn from our mistakes and not do these things over like we've done. Whatever you do, go at it with your whole heart. Have a fantastic day.
Have a great day.